Hi guys, it's Megan Aller, sales executive at First American Title here in Denver, Colorado, to give you your February detached single-family 2019 market update. Now, as you've been watching my reports on a monthly basis, please remember that my report only covers the 7 metro Denver counties. So if you're looking at other reports that are out there, great ones published by RE Colorado and by DMAR, we all cover different geographies, and so our numbers are going to report just a little bit differently from each other. As we're looking at February of 2019, this is the traditional kickoff for our real estate season going into the busier part of our year. Typically what happens after the last game played by the Denver Broncos right at about the beginning of February is when we see that big uptick of activity in our marketplace. Unfortunately, sellers really don't start showing up to the market until about April, and so we're starting into what we call our compression phase in the market, where our buyer activity or demand passes supply and drives our prices up. We're starting to see the exact same thing for the detached market here in Metro Denver. Typically what happens going from January to February is that our active inventory remains relatively flat, and that's exactly what happened this year as it has for the past 6 years in a row. As of right now, we ended up having about 3,463 active units for sale in the detached market for the 7 Metro Denver counties. That's up about 7.9% from where we were 1 year ago. There's been a lot of press out there about increased inventory in Metro Denver, and while that's true, please keep in mind that it's the relationship between supply and demand, or active units and contracts written, that really dictate what happens with our prices. So while inventory is up, guess what? Under contract units are up even higher than that. Under contract units went up by 9.4%, so that's higher than the 7.9% increase that we saw for supply. So what happens is we remain in that compressed market where we see prices getting driven up, and bidding war is very likely for homes that are under $500,000. Days on market start to trend downward as we go into the spring months, and so as of right now for February we came in at 41 average days to contract, but we dropped by half for a median days to contract, coming down from about 26 last month to 15 as we went into February. It's important that you keep an eye on what happens with median days on market, because by the time that we get into March, April, and May, those units will be likely to be going under contract at about 7 median days to contract. So be aware, if you're trying to be aggressive in your pricing strategy, that median days to contract is the point at which 50% of all of the other units are under contract. And if you're past that, or if you've been on the market longer than that, especially for those homes between $200,000 and $600,000, you may need to consider a price reduction. Looking at home prices, typically going from January to February, we end up seeing a slight price increase. This year we came in with about a 2.1% increase in our average sales price month over month, and we actually went from $493,000 up to $506,000, so we've crossed over that $500,000 threshold yet again. Again, prices will continue to rise as we go into those spring months, with some retraction expected after July. Flash sales are the number of units that go under contract in 7 days or less. That ended up jumping from about 24% of the units under contract in that first 7-day period up to 38%. And again, that number will also continue to increase as we go into those spring months. We are starting to see those bidding wars, and this is the first wave of reporting that we can do on what percentage of units go under contract for at or over their asking price. And as of February, it was already 49.5% of detached single-family homes were selling for at or over their asking price. Now back to our market conditions graph behind me. Blue is active, yellow is under contract, red is closed, and that gray line at the very bottom represents our expired units. What I'm looking at as we transition from a slow season to a busier season is the year-over-year numbers. Again, a lot of attention has been brought forth about inventory going up. Yes, inventory is up by 7.9%, but demand actually passed that, and we had 9.4% more units go under contract in that same month. So demand is rising faster than our supply is, creating this compression phase that we're in again.
Call or text us today. Jones Team Colorado, 720-314-8462.